Well, hello. I want to say good afternoon, just barely. I'm getting earlier, but I've been holding off filming early in the day because I never know when I'm going to have internet or not. They have done such a spectacular job trying to fix this. I just hate to complain, so I'm not going to. Right now, it's working. It just came back on, so I'm going to try to see what I can do in the time I have. So we're going to make a lemon meringue pie today. I've been trying to get this done for some time now. So I've got everything laid out, ready to go. The water is just heated up in the microwave. Because you have to have hot water when you add this together. So what we're going to do, I'm going to use a Graham Cracker Crust with this. The recipe calls for, just a regular pie crust, but I love Graham Cracker Crust with lemon pies. So it's my pie, and I'm going to make it my way. So everything's just really easy. I'm going to do it according to the way Martha Stewart makes her pie fillings and her pastry fillings and things like that, to where everything's just in one pot, stir until it's bubbly hot and thick, and pour it in your pie shell. So for right now, we're going to do a Graham Cracker Crust. I keep these in baggies because I use them all the time. There's big pieces and little pieces. But what we're going to do with this, we're going to add, there's like seven or eight graham crackers in here that's broken and unbroken. A tablespoon of sugar, and a little bit more than a tablespoon of melted butter. So, and these little food processors and mini ones are just the most awesome things. You don't need to drag out that big one all the time, because many times my little mini one serves its purpose. And there's like 3 items to clean, and they're so much easier than the big one where you have all those little nooks and crannies that you have to get into. So let's get this all in there, get it combined. This should be enough. Oh, by the way, this is not a 9-inch pie. This is an 8-inch. I've learned over the years, especially when I'm not cooking for a large number of people, that we just don't eat items in large containers. Not that the items any smaller, but the amounts any less. It's just that I don't have, eat what you got and try to save the rest. And I'd rather save a tiny bit of something than a large something, knowing that I'm not going to get to it. And when I go to clean the freezer out, I'm going to end up tossing it. And that just breaks my heart. Food is too expensive today. Well, it always has been. So anyway, getting back to this, we're going to do the graham crackers, put the sugar in, and then we're going to mix it. Now you can adjust the sugar any way you want. Okay, let's pulse this. I know. There's a dog with a... I know. For some reason, whenever I do this, that's the response I get. Always has been. So now we're going to put our butter. Okay, I know. Oh my goodness. That should be enough, guys. Yeah. We're good. We're good. And I lightly sprayed the pie plate. So, see how, it's just so little and cute. I know, guys. Thank you for helping, though. Thank you for helping. You're such good little guys. You're such good little guys. And that's it. That's all she wrote with that. Put that to the side. Put all this to the side. Clean the ducks. And then we'll pat this together. Now the crust for this is for a 9-inch. But that's okay, because I do like a little bit more crust than what it calls for, especially with the graham crackers. I love Graham Cracker Crust. especially in pudding pies, and you know, stuff of that nature. See how good, easy that goes together. Now I am going to put this in the refrigerator, in the oven. I've already got it preheating to 400 degrees. A lot of times, I think my internet's going out again. A lot of times, they want you just to stick this in the refrigerator and then pour your pie filling in on top of that. But I found that by baking it for a few minutes, it accomplishes two things. It not only warms your crust up to accept a warm pie filling, but it also sets it much, much better than just sticking it in the refrigerator. There we go, we're getting there. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. It's not overly hot the way it has been. We've experienced in this area in Central Florida the last few days of this past week the hottest temperatures at this time of year that we've ever had. So it hasn't been my imagination. Okay, guys. Oh, there you go. Oh, it smells so good. And a chocolate pie crust is good, but I don't think that would go with our lemon pie filling. So let me put this in here. But I'll tell you what will is a ginger. Alexa, set timer for 10 minutes. I'm going to leave that in there for 10 minutes only. And then we're going to get started on our filling. This is so quick for a homemade lemon meringue pie. And the meringues, I've already separated 4 eggs. The yolks go in the filling, the meringues go on the top. They are at room temperature. I want to give you a tip though. If you're going to make a meringue and you haven't done it before, it calls for room temperature eggs, which is what you want. However, what I would recommend you do is when you bring your eggs out of the refrigerator cold, break them then and separate the eggs from the yolks from the meringue. Because when you leave them out to room temperature and then break them, it's harder to separate and it's harder to keep the yolk out of the meringue. At all times, anytime you have a yolk or a piece of a yolk or anything in that meringue, it won't whip. So you got to be a little bit on the cautious side when you break those meringues and yolks, or you separate those meringues and yolks. Okay, let me tell you what we have. 2 cups of hot water. We have 4 egg yolks. We have a quarter of a cup of fresh lemon juice. My lemon, because I grated it, which brings me to a cup of sugar and a tablespoon of lemon zest. It took 2 lemons to get the juice. And then a tablespoon of butter and 3 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. That's your thickener. And that's really all there is to it. So what we'll do with that is I'm going to get my pan, my pot. Oh, I didn't see you down there, Andy. You helping Mommy? Okay. And we're going to take our sugar and our zest. Go ahead and get that in your pan, in your pot, pot. And then we're going to combine our cornstarch and flour. Oh, there's a quarter of a teaspoon of salt in there too. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting that little bit of salt. Okay, so I'm going to combine this together. The tablespoon of butter doesn't go in until after it's finished on the stove top. Let's get that all combined. Then after I do this, I'm going to take it over on the other counter so you can watch it come to a boil. Then I'm going to take my egg yolks. Same thing. This is really quick. There's no tempering of the eggs, none of that stuff. It scares a lot of people off. It scared me off for a long time. Okay, so same thing with this. Mix that in together. What are you doing, Andy? Andy's down here. I don't know if he's hungry or not. He shouldn't be. There we go. This keeps it from having lumps if you do it this way, because when we add our liquid, our water, and our lemon juice, we're going to do that slowly and bring it up to temperature. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to take my butter, set it over here. I don't want to forget that. My lemon juice, I'm adding to my water, my warm water. And then I'm going to take you over to the stove, so I have to move this camera. Okay, we're over here on the stove. I'm going to keep stirring this. I haven't done anything since I brought you over here. So I'm going to bring this up just a little bit because we're going to add our water and our lemon juice gradually. But I want to bring this up a little bit to temp. Bring it up just a hair more. This is the important part because you don't want to burn this, but you want to keep the lumps out of it as well. So just err on the side of caution and go slow. Because once it starts to thicken, it's going to go quick. So let's get that up to temperature. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water in here. Water and lemon juice, the mixture. Mix that up really good. I hope you can see that. I don't have an overhead. Now these, I'm going to get the little nooks and crannies down at the bottom that hide on the edge of the pan, the pot. This whisk, let me show this to you. This whisk is the neatest thing in the world to make gravies and sauces. I never have any issues when I'm making any kind of sauce or puddings. Okay. Gotta watch for Andy under my feet. See that? Okay, so here we go. A little bit more. A little bit more. So here we go. Let's keep whisking it up. Oh, it's starting to smell really good. Plus, I took the Graham Cracker Crust out of the oven. Alexa, cancel timer. It's getting there. It's getting there. Okay, so my internet popped off there for a second. I've just continually stirred this. So expect maybe to keep stirring it for 2 minutes because I have this on medium low. I didn't want it too hot because it's going to stick to the bottom and scorch. You don't want that to happen. It's thickening up right now. It's going to start bubbling any minute, and then You want to let it continue softly bubbling for about a minute. And it's reaching that stage right now. If you can see how thick that is. See how thick that is? Now bring that, get it a little bit thicker, and we'll pour it in our pie shell. Now you want this to, before you even think about cutting this, you're going to want to let this cool all the way down, even in the refrigerator. Put it in the refrigerator, let it cool down. Overnight's the best, but at least 2 hours, at the very least 2 hours. And we are pretty much there. It's pretty thick, and it's going to thicken as it sets or cools too, and then we'll set up. So I'm going to turn the heat off. Don't forget our tablespoon of butter. That's going to go in there. Get that stirred in. I can't wait to taste this. I haven't had a lemon meringue pie in so long. I can't remember the last time I had a lemon meringue pie. It's always been, you know, with a whipped topping. There you go. No tempering. Everything just in the same pot. Just bring it up to a boil slowly. Now, we'll put it in our pie plate. Now, don't forget this is an 8-inch pie plate, not a 9. So you're going to have extra filling, which there's nothing wrong with that. We're just going to have a fat pie. And then you can save some for yourself to snack on. Okay. Let me put this to the side. Don't fall. Let's get some more in there. There we go. Let's not waste any. Oh. Good. Really good. Let me get this out of here. Okay. So, for all practical purposes, here we are. We have the bottom part of our lemon meringue pie. All we're going to do now to finish that is just whip up our meringue, put it in. I've already got the oven up to 400 degrees for when I did the pie shell or the Graham Cracker Crust. And I will brown then the meringue. And then we're done. Alrighty then, here we go. I've got my 4 egg whites. Got my mixer, my hand mixer. I'm just going to use that. So much easier than pulling out the stand mixer. And then in here, I've got 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar. You can also use 10X. I prefer granulated. And I also have a tablespoon of cornstarch and a 1/4 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. They act as stabilizers in the egg yolks. They and the cornstarch actually helps the egg whites from weeping as it sits on your pie. So let's get this started. Okay, we're at stiff peaks now. Let me show you what that is. See that? You're at stiff peaks. That took about, I want to say, a minute to minute and a half. I didn't want to have you sitting there listening to this whirring of this mixer. Okay, so all we're going to do now is top our pie, and we're going to decorate it and put it in the oven. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. See that better? Now let's get that on top. And I've already got the oven set at 400 degrees. It's going to be in there about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, because we want this to brown That's going to be pretty, isn't it? Look at that. Oh my. Yeah, it's been a long, long time since I had a lemon meringue pie, homemade anyway. I can't remember the last time I made a lemon meringue pie. It's got to be years and years ago. I used to do meringues all the time, and then I got kind of put out with them because they would weep, they would do this, they would do that, they would separate. You couldn't hold them at all. You had to eat them all that day. But we'll see how this goes. And you just take the back of your spatula, pull up on it and make little peaks, like so. And they'll brown in the oven. Let's not waste any of this. Get a little crown on it. How's that? Huh? There we go. Now, you know, also, you can add food coloring to this. This would make a beautiful coconut cream pie. Okay, that's it. There's our lemon meringue pie, guys. Oh, it's hot. I'm going to put that in the oven now, 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. We'll keep an eye on it. We just want the peaks to brown and the egg yolks to, the egg whites to cook a little bit. There we go. Let's turn the light on. Alexa, set timer for 10 minutes. And we'll have Alexa remind us in about 10 minutes. So when that happens, you get back in here and we will see what it looks like. Okay, I just took the lemon meringue pie out of the oven, and is it ever beautiful and hot? But look at this. Isn't that just remarkable? Smells wonderful. So we can't do anything to this pie until it cools down. I mean, you would just totally ruin it by cutting into it now. It would just flatten out and be like water. So when it cools down later on today, I'll bring you back and I'll show you what it looks like. So until then, you enjoy your day. Okay, well, it's been 3 hours since we did the pie, and it looks awesome. It cut really well. It's not running. It's not bleeding or weeping. And here it is. It's beautiful. I'm going to taste it. Can't wait. That is super, super good. And yes, Andy's down here. Nothing says home like lemon meringue pie. It just reminds me of growing up and going to diners and in those little round glass cases, you would see chocolate meringue, coconut meringue, you would see lemon meringue, you'd see all kinds of cakes and pastries and donuts, and that's just what this reminds me of. It's been so long since I've made anything like this, but it just takes me back to another time when this was what my mom would make, or my grandmother, my aunts. You go visiting, and there would always be a meringue pie. Now, not so much. But, you know, that's okay. You know, I don't know if you can call it progress or not, but now that we can hark back and make these, they're not difficult. You know, we made this with just what I had on hand. You know, a few eggs, so 2 lemons, some water, flour, cornstarch. That's pretty much it. The only thing in the meringue is a little bit of sugar, some cream of tartar, which you don't need, and a teaspoon of cornstarch, which I've just done since I've been baking, and you don't need that either. But it did serve a purpose. It's not runny. It's not weepy. It's nice and solid. So maybe that's the cornstarch helping. That they say the cornstarch is supposed to absorb the moisture from the pie. So, that's yet to be seen. The pie will probably be in the refrigerator a couple more days. So as it sits, we'll see what happens. I hope you try this recipe. With that, I'm going to say goodbye, and I just wish you, the very best of the rest of the weekend ahead. And please take care of yourself, your friends, your family, and your loved ones. And take care of those next door, because you never know what goes on behind closed doors. Thank you for visiting my channel.